Hello, good evening. 51 days until I run the entire length of Germany. Welcome back. How you doing? Um, I still can't run. The foot is not in good shape. Today's training was 2 segments on the bike, both 20 kilometers each, to and from work. I went for a walk in the evening, out into a field, covered completely in honey-colored light as the sun was setting on a beautiful summer evening. On my own. I've been thinking a lot about the publicity of this run. About what I'm doing being so available to others, and thereby me, to some degree, being available to others at all times. And as I was thinking this and feeling these things, I felt a rush of a desire to do it completely on my own, with a backpack, a small backpack, and some essential gear, with no publicity, no nothing, just me and the road. Because the motivation for the run is that. It's the confrontation with whatever I find on the road. You know? Excuse me. That's what I'm doing this for. I want to... There's a conversation that happens when you're on the road and you push beyond conceivable limits. This happens in any endeavor, absolutely, but I find that within running especially, it's a very specific experience. You know what, when I'm on a run and it's a dogfight, like it's just one of them runs where, you know, you feel low on energy, your knees fucked up, and you're wearing the wrong shorts, your headphones just died, everything's like, and you feel that blister on your left foot coming back in, everything's shit. A beautiful thing happens on those runs if you can go within yourself and listen to whatever the fuck is going on in your head, in your heart. It's a beautiful thing. And I find that within that confrontation, I'm having a conversation with myself, with the man I want to be and the man I could easily become if I, just stop running. Take running within this, of course, as a metaphor, But yeah, today in the evening I was annoyed by how this run, this project, is so dependable on all these external factors and people. And I thought, nah, fuck that, man. Fuck all of it. Do it on your own. Don't post anything. Just do it on your own. For you. Just like you did the walkabout, the hike across Europe. I have a very strong desire, a very strong urge to be on my own. to be disconnected from people. I have, in fact, no desire to be around people at the moment. And I thought about it in the evening. I was eating a pizza on this little park bench. And here's my theory. I forgot who it was. But there's a famous quote. Could have been Bukowski. About how solitude is a thing that once you taste it, it's very difficult to give it back up. Nietzsche, I believe, also had a quote, something along the lines of how it is a robbery to take up someone's time without offering true and genuine company. Here's my theory. I don't think people, generally speaking, I don't think a lot of people actually know how to give quality company. I think one factor that is entirely dependable on you being able to provide authentic, genuine connection and quality of companionship is heavy and intimate confrontations with yourself. I don't think most people have had heavy and intimate confrontations with themselves. I know I have, but I've deliberately put myself into positions where I've had that. Very deliberately. Very, very deliberately. I mean, for Christ's sake, I hiked from here all the way to Slovenia on my own. I have a few countries under my belt that I've walked either entirely in width or length. I didn't post stories about it. People didn't know where I was. And the way I would reach out to friends were letters. A day has 24 hours. It's a long fucking time to be on your own. I'm not saying this in vain of complaining. Not at all. I fucking loved it. It was great. In the moment, perhaps shitty, but that's just, the game's the game, you know? But I've deliberately put myself into positions where I was alone. I've met the man I am when I'm alone. I know who I am. I know my capacity to wreak havoc upon my own potential, and I know my capacity to withstand the most gruesome of resistances. I know my capacity to embody the power of God and all that is divine. I know all of this because I've been alone to a very substantial degree. And as a result, a consequence of me going out traveling has been that I returned home and I could very clearly and very quickly identify within people to which degree they've spoken to themselves. I'm going to give you a spoiler. It's very few. At least this is, I say, my observation. And all of a sudden, quickly emerges the sense of disgust. Disgust is a strong word. All of a sudden, when I observe this, a feeling of a lack of interest emerges from me within that person. That is not to put myself above this individual in all regards, absolutely not. Only in the specific regard of I've actually spoken to myself. I know myself quite well within all my capacities. Devastating and disgusting and glorious and beautiful. You know? A coward who opts for peace is a disgusting individual. I use the word disgusting provocatively, but I am being serious. Someone with no capacity someone with no capacity to say no cowards. I don't like peacemakers. I don't like peacemakers who make peace for the sake of peace. I absolutely adore peacemakers who make peace for the sense of justice. If peace is the righteous path in this current circumstance, and that is what you demand of me, thank you. I will do my best to bow my head, and if I fail to bow my head, but I recognize and realize later I should have, I will apologize. But I despise someone who opts for peace just for the sake of peace. Because it's cowardly towards me and the circumstance, but most importantly, it's cowardly towards you. And if you are willing to be cowardly towards you, I am unfortunately no longer in the position to trust you. Do you understand? If you are willing to be cowardly towards you, you are willing to be be deceitful towards you. You are willing to lie to yourself. I'm not saying I don't lie to myself, but I know when I do, you know? And I've seen in real time people who have this capacity to always try to be within harmony's reach and will say the specific thing that will provide harmony and peace, even if that is disruptive to their soul. That's a spiritual bankruptcy. If you're willing to say that, which you do not believe, which you do not feel, which you would not stand up for, merely because you would rather partake in the spiritual bankruptcy instead of getting perhaps a little resistance from someone that is present, fuck you. Fuck you. Blessings to you. All the best. I wish you nothing but peace and guidance. Guidance specifically, because you're going to need it. But fuck you. I get... so pointless. I like people who are like... I like ruthlessness in people. I have a good friend. His name is Rafael. And Rafael is the quality of man people don't really make anymore. Like his model is out of stock almost, you know. He's a pirate, he's an artist, he's a poet, he's a writer, he's an adventurer, he's a philosopher, a thinker. He's exceptional, he really is. He's as fucked in the head as anyone else is, but he's exceptional. One thing I love about him is that he's fucking ruthless about honesty. He works in hospitality, right? I met him when I was working in Mykonos, which is a whole story in and of itself. I'm happy to share the story because I ended up in jail and all. Like it was crazy. Mykonos was an insane time. It's going to be in the book as well. I'm off topic. Rafael is an exceptional individual, an absolutely exceptional man. What makes him exceptional is, as I mentioned, he works in hospitality. Rafael is the only man I know who, by default, could not give two fucks less if you are homeless or the richest man on the planet. He's going to treat you the exact same way. He approaches individuals as exactly that, individuals, part of the human collective, part of this broad family of sentient beings that roam this earth with testicles or without. And he's fucking ruthless about it. Because the second someone demands of him to treat them in a specific way because they have this specific social class, he's disgustingly honest about it. He's disgusted by it. Anyway, all that's to say, I like people who introduce a little ruthlessness into their lives. A little cold-hearted honesty. People who, when they say, I love you, mean it. And when they say, you fucked up, get your shit together, they mean it. I love that. I do, I really do. It's beautiful, you know? There's no half-assing. None of it. And most people now on the streets, again, this seems almost as though I've lost all my faith and belief in humanity, which I have not at all. If I were to ever be part of a religion, it would be that of the human being. The human being is God, the all-powerful, the all-knowing, the all-feeling, the all-consuming and all-conquering human being. But there's a lot of fuckfaces out there. And most people who roam the streets, at least here in my close proximity, operating at a very low vibrational level, much like I have been over the past few days. And it's okay to have sympathy, it's okay to have empathy, it's okay to have compassion. But it's also okay to call people out on their bullshit. It's also okay to acknowledge, I do not like this specific trait that I've now observed within this multifaceted cultural space of individual people. And if there's one thing I don't like, it's peacemakers for the sake of peace. Cowards. Fucking cowards. I've listened to some interviews by Tupac Shakur. Man, that man was fucking young when he died. Tupac was about my age when he was killed. And to think of the influence he's had on the world by this age, it doesn't put me down. It doesn't make me feel as though it's putting me down. It just makes me feel as though it really signifies how culturally relevant and exceptional he was. But anyway, one thing you notice about Tupac in those interviews is Tupac is just trying to be himself. And he acknowledges completely that he's just trying to figure things out, absolutely. But he's honest, and there's no peacemaking. It's all foot to the gas. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel right now. I'm going to be exactly what I am right now. I wish to emulate that, I really do. I wish to emulate to an aggressive degree. This is exactly how I feel right now. Right now, I could run through a fucking wall, or I want a hug. Please hold me. You know? We all inhabit both spaces. It's part of the game. And the game's the game. Am I going insane? I feel like I'm going insane. I wonder if there's studies about the long-term effects of having conversations, in-depth spiritual conversations, to an audience of 0. Well, there is an audience behind the camera, but I mean live audience. Anyway. I want to be really, really, really honest. I feel like that's the solution to all my issues. Another solution, excuse me, the camera's dying. Another solution would be to realize that you at every given moment know exactly what you should be doing. Right now, it is my belief that you know exactly what you should be doing. And you know this at any given time throughout the day. There is a voice in the back of your head constantly speaking to you. Every time you pick the phone up when you know you shouldn't. Every time you grab your dick because you're about to masturbate when you know you shouldn't. Every single time you reach out to a woman because you're so used to flirting that like it's become muscle memory, but you know you should not be engaging in this. Every single time you engage in a conversation in a very specific way, this could be with your brother, your mother, your friend, you engage in a conversation in a very specific way in which you know you shouldn't. There's a voice in the back of your head. I've mentioned this in one of the recordings earlier, but there's a quote by Nietzsche where he says, they fear the highest self, for when it speaks demandingly. But how that isn't encouraging, I completely fail to understand. Because I've spoken about this. What if you conceptualize the highest self as you, but you across space and time? In a way, think of it as your time-traveling you speaking to you now from the future. Don't do this. Don't watch this. Don't consume this. What you consume is also a big one. You know, with the availability of entertainment today, which is at an all-time high, constantly there are options to consume something. Constantly. When cooking food, when eating food, when having a shit, when showering, when in the car, when in bed, there's constantly the option to consume something. What's been helpful to me has been seeing how long I can go without consuming anything. And when I do that, I envision me, but much, much smaller, a small boy, running through a field in early June, a sunny green field with grass so high I can stretch my arms out at the side briefly, and just run my hands through wheat or grass or whatever it is. And it's almost an exploration of myself. Today in the evening when I went for a walk, I sat down in the field as well, in the sunset. I just consciously did nothing. And it's so stupid that I even have to speak of this experience as though it was something special and profound, but it really was. I had some serious conversations with myself about whether or not I want to continue doing this run the way I'm doing it. I'm super happy to share all of this with you people, I am. But I'm doing this primarily for me. Me. And I'm going to be egoistical about it. I'm doing the run primarily for me. Because I want to know who the fuck I am when I hit marathon 49 and I'm 39k deep and I have 3 kilometers left to go and my knees are done. My feet can't touch the ground. I want to cry. I haven't eaten. I shat myself. I want to know who I am when I hit that point, when I hit that mark. And I want to know who I can become once I've left that behind me and no longer consider it to be a difficult experience. Because that's possible. I'm doing this for me. And so the more I invest myself into putting the message out there, the more I invest myself into finding sponsorships, the more I invest myself into battling to make this something that I can share with my camera team and people and share the story. I have a strong longing for just going back into myself, within myself. Maybe after the run I'll disappear for a while. Maybe after the run I'll pack my backpack again and I'll go hiking and I won't tell anyone where I'm going. And I'll change my number and I'll give my number to my brother and no one else. And write letters again. Just see people. Go visit people. Maybe I'll go visit Rosa and Maurizio in southern Italy. I lived with them on a farm for a while. Maybe I'll go visit Giulia in Rome. A beautiful woman with a weird head. Pause. I mean, you know what I mean. Yeah, so many options and possibilities. Anyway, I'm rambling. I feel like I'm losing my mind, which is good. I feel like I'm losing my mind in the right way. I'm finally digging back into myself, and I'm becoming more me. And as this very self-expressive, very dynamic, very much me individual comes out, I will have to eventually hone back in on a more stoic approach, and then once I've gone too far in that, I'll have to go back into a more goofy approach. It's always a balance, always a mix of things. It's like a soup that you're constantly working on. But remember this, be fucking honest about everything. Every time your mouth opens, truth, 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 truth. Fuck peace. Risk a war every now and then. Say the wrong thing. Get slapped in the face. Get into a fight. Lose. It's a broken nose heals pretty quickly. A broken nose heals in a week. But the spiritual turmoil of the spiritual bankruptcy you undergo with those little decisions of pseudo-friendliness, that's a dangerous game, man. The weight of the shackles of habits are unnoticeable until all of a sudden they're far too heavy to carry. The weight of the shackles of habits is unnoticeable until all of a sudden it's too heavy to carry. Every little fuck up you do accumulates. Every little victory you do accumulates. As of now, as of right now, everything you say, truth. Risk a little war. Be a little dick sometimes, but always try to help people. Some people you will help by telling them they're fuck up. Some people you will help by telling them you're lying to yourself. Some people you will just be careful about it. But in the beginning, try yourself out. Devote yourself to you. Realize that the only important project you will ever work on is you. Ever. I don't care about what's stood on a piece of paper. I care about the individual you are when you're raising children. I care about the individual you are when you're about to leave this planet and you have time to reflect upon the effect you've had on the people in your life. That is what I care about. That is what you should care about. You are the only thing that matters. That sounds egocentrical, but that approach, if done healthy, is the best way to help the world. By investing in yourself, you will learn that the intricate steps of growing an individual to a specific person. And the lessons you've learned in that process will be able to help others in their journey. That's the whole fucking point. 32 minutes. Fuck me, man. Anyway. Be honest. Fuck peace. Invest in you. Thank you. Much love.